Hey everybody, welcome to Lore Friday for July 31st, 2020. I'm your host, DM Galabond. Alright, everybody, today on Lore Friday we are continuing our investigation and detailed dive into the adventures that make up the Princes of the Apocalypse campaign. And we are working through those adventures that are tuned for level 3. Actually, we are done with level 3. We are starting on those that are tuned for level 4 characters. And today is the first of those, which is Rivergard Keep. So let's go ahead and get on with the show. All right. Rivergard Keep is a castle that's built on the banks of the Desserin River, and it is one of the surface strongholds that the four uh, cults of elemental evil are using. Specifically, it is the stronghold for the cult of elemental water. This is a place where it acts as kind of a recruitment center. It acts as a front for where the cult on the surface sort of keeps an eye out for anything that might be dangerous to them. It's also a place where they uh, you know process any treasure that they have stolen and that they might want to divert to the temple, which is underground. And it is connected to the underground temple of elemental water by an underground stream that issues out right here where the keep is located. This the They don't give you a whole lot of history on this Rivergard Keep in the adventure, but you're kind of led to believe this is something that has been abandoned and run down for quite a while. And when the characters come across it, they notice that somebody is fixing it up, and that somebody happens to be these cultists. All right, so I'm going to go to a couple of images here for you. First of all, they show you a view of the keep from the water, from the river. River's supposed to be about half a mile wide here, and it's over on the west bank of the river. The river flows more or less north to south here, and there is a chain that they use to raise and lower so that it will stop boats from being able to come in and out. But people who are swimming, or people who are in like really light shallow draft craft like a kayak or a canoe or something, could get through it without any problem. Get past this chain, either float over it when it's just hanging down into the water like this, or go underneath and around if it's not. As you can see, where parts of the castle walls are cracked and part of the roof is gone, but then you can see other places where they've made repairs along here. So that's um, the outer area. Overlooks this castle overlooks the Desserin River. It's half a mile wide. Gatehouse and keep stand atop a low bluff, but the walls are built to the water's edge. On the river bank, another low tower guards a boat basin where keel boats are moored. Seems old and worn, but new timbers and shingles suggest the repairs are underway. White banner with a blue gauntlet flies over the keep. So then, if you approach peacefully, and maybe if you've already found out something and you approach with a little bit of subterfuge, like you might be recruits for the cult or something, you actually will get welcomed in, very similar to what happened at when we were looking at the Feathergale Spire a few weeks ago and talking about that area as the above ground uh, stronghold for the cult of elemental air. So these cults are constantly recruiting people. So they're not a, kill you on sight if you're not one of us. They're, okay, maybe you want to join us, so we're going to talk to you first. And if you're not going to join us, we want to figure out what you know. So we know whether you're a threat or whether there might be other people who are a threat around before we decide what to do with you. And then it gives you a really nice section here that tells you uh, the general features of the keep. So arrow slits, ceilings, defenders, doors, light, locks, and it goes so far as to say, um, for interior doors, what a strength check is required to force them open, and then outer doors, those as well. Locks, it gives you information on the what it takes to open a lock, the height of the walls and sort of the configuration of the walls, treasure, so that like if you fight a battle against a few enemies and they fall, the DM has an idea of how much treasure to award for each person that fell in the battle. And then a note on some of the defenders. Now, Jolliver Grimjaw is the leader of these uh, sellswords mercenaries who kind of are in charge of this keep, working on behalf of the cult. And he is a werebore. So he actually will go full bore on you in a battle if he has to. So that's something to keep in mind here. This nice little map here they give you, very compact, and it has all the areas. This is one of the things I really like about this, and it's a nice strong or a nice moderately sized area, fairly well constructed and everything. So you could actually see this being something that maybe your characters might uh, ultimately take over, and it might become like a base of operations for them, because clearly it's on the river. It's got the water access. It's got all these other cool things that are here. So that could be something um, that's that your characters could use. And this is also a really nice location to be able to pull out of this adventure and put into a homebrew adventure, because everything is so detailed here for you. You can describe all the walls. You can have someplace on the river. It can either be an operating and running, you know, seat for some noble in your game, or it could be abandoned, or it could be the base of operations for some cult or other group that your party is trying to investigate or trying to oppose. Most everybody you're going to find in here, most every enemy that you're going to find is all humanoids. There are a few interesting humanoids. There's a little bit of magic. You have a few potions, a few scrolls. There's a couple of small caches that have some coin and gems and things like that. Where is the boathouse or the boat? Oh, yes. Occasionally you'll find uh, these kind of humanoids. These are proper members of the cult, and they usually will have um, different kinds of abilities. Fathomer is one of the spellcasters, so that could potentially pose an issue for your party. Crushing Wave Reavers, um, they're kind of fighter types, if you will. Then let's see. Moored keelboat. Okay. There's the captain of this keelboat called the River Maid is a water genasi. Now, a genasi is a new playable race introduced to 5e in this adventure. And the genasi have heritage in the have heritage that they can link back to one of the four elemental planes of existence. So a water genasi has some kind of water entity in its background that gives it certain abilities and everything. And then, obviously there's more potions there. And then Crushing Wave Priest, that's a cleric in service of the elemental or cult of elemental water. And then Jolliver is a werebore. The toughest fight you'll probably have if you go through and fight everything as written. Of course, adventurers are never going to do that. They're going to go in different orders, or they're going to do something that like pulls the entire dungeon down on their heads. Jolliver is a werebore, so he's a CR4. And then he's attended by a Fathomer, which is one of the spellcasters for the cult, who's a CR2, and by a couple of these fighters, or CR1 half. So you have a CR4, a CR2, and two CR1 halves. That's probably going to be the toughest fight. So like I said, it's tuned for 4th level, because some of these fights could be a handful, and especially, like if you make a bunch of noise and there's like other people around and if they jump into the fight, yeah, things could go pretty badly for your group, but they're not, they're not an overwhelming force. Like you go in there with a higher level group and you have a couple of fireball spells and okay, you're just go to town on these guys. And then there's basically this is a place where you go in order to find out more about the cult's activities, or in response to the cult's activities. There's this area, this stream area, where let's go back up here. So K13 here leads to K22, which is an interior underground boat landing. And then this stream is that underground stream that goes all the way to the Temple of Elemental Water underground. So these little boats can actually float or be rowed up that stream, and because the caves are big enough that you can take a boat all the way to that temple, which is a few miles inland from here. So there could be several reasons for coming here, either for dealing with tracing a bunch of thefts on the river that leads you to this keep, and you find out these people are responsible, or if you have intelligence that this is somehow connected with the cult of elemental water, you can do that. You can come here and then make your way to the temple that way. All right. The thing that I like best about this adventure is this little keep itself. I mean, the detail that's laid out here for you, everything from the floor plan to even all the walking paths and things like that. And then the key to the description, I tend to, if I'm going to use something like this in a homebrew game, I tend to just basically take the entire map and the description of it And then I go through and I start by taking out the enemies and replacing those. And then if there are certain things that are tied into the campaign, I will strip those out and I will replace those with details either that are generic to the location or that are significant to the campaign that I'm running. I just find that it takes a little bit less time and it gives you kind of a fuller sense of what is going on here and makes it feel like a more lived in place. And for someone like me who is trying to run a couple of games every week and who is working full time and whatnot and doing these videos for YouTube, it's good to have a lot of stuff that you can just pretty much take lock, stock, and barrel and put it in there. So I'm sure other people have some really creative things that they have done or are planning to do with this, and I would love to see that in the comments below. So yeah, this is a real nice self-contained piece that you can rip out of this campaign, drop it in anywhere that you need it, either in a homebrew or in another campaign you're running. And because most everything here is humanoids, it's very easy to also transport this across editions of the game, because you can pretty much even leave most of the creatures except for the specific cultists. You can find replacements for those in every edition of the game. All right, that's going to do it for today. If you have played through the Rivergard Keep, I would be interested to see what you thought of it in the comments below. Did you enjoy that part of your campaign or your adventure? If you defeated all the enemies at Rivergard Keep, what did the party decide to do with it? Did they decide to, plant a flag and take it as a base, or did they decide to just sort of leave it abandoned and go on about the rest of their mission? I think it's kind of interesting to find out what they did. All right. If you enjoy the content that we have here on this channel, please subscribe, like the video, click the post notification bell. That will let you know every time that a new video is published on the channel. And hope we will see you back here next week as we continue going through the adventures from Princess of the Apocalypse for Lore Friday. And we hope that between now and then you'll stop by and check out some of the other content that we have up here. All right, everybody. I have been DM Galabond. This has been Lore Friday. This is going to do it for today. So thank you guys for coming by, and I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Good night, everyone.